welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
It'll be a rainy week 3 here in Baltimore, and down on the sideline, the third member of our team, Jane Slater.
Thanks, Andrew. Well, if you're just joining us from at home, linebacker C.J. Mosley, the Baltimore defense's best player, has been ruled out in this game with a bone bruise. Now, not only is he one of their best players, he's also the guy that calls out the defensive plays. Now, in his place, it's going to be safety Eric Weddle wearing the headset. He tells us that he's done this before, so he has all the confidence in it. In fact, he actually did it last week in cleanup duty. Andrew, back up to you.
All right, Jen, and another big loss defensively for the Ravens. Michael Pierce will not play today because of a foot injury, so Baltimore without 2 starters on defense. The weather, it's a factor. It's cool, but the rain, obviously, the bigger issue. It's been raining all morning here in Baltimore, expected to continue throughout the course of the afternoon. Vance Joseph, second season as Denver's head coach, and John Harbaugh celebrating his 56th birthday today. He is 1-0 on his birthday. Beat the Patriots back in 2012. Denver won the coin toss, and they have elected to defer. So Brandon McManus will kick it away to one of the newest members of the Ravens. Baltimore cut their return man, Janarian Grant, yesterday and promoted Tim White from the practice squad. This is his NFL debut, and a tough spot for a return man in this weather, James.
Well, the previous return man was cut because he didn't handle the ball well. Like you say, wet weather, wet ball, tough conditions.
And White will return this one. And he is tackled at the 15-yard line. Good coverage downfield by the Broncos. Joseph Jones leading the charge. Joe Flacco last Thursday night in Cincinnati, 3 turnovers, 2 picks, and lost a fumble late in that game. But back here at home, where he has played so well since 2008, only Tom Brady has more home victories.
51's the mark.
Baltimore has scored 70 points in their first 2 games, a franchise record. And on first down, Alex Collins gets the carry for a couple. Up front, Ronnie Stanley is starting at left tackle, but he's wearing a brace on his right arm. He injured his elbow late in the game last Thursday in Cincinnati. And Joe Flacco telling us a priority to hold up front. The offensive line has really struggled. That's a big key for Baltimore today. The line holding up and trying to get the run game going. Flacco throwing on second down, in trouble, and sacked. It was Bradley Chubb getting in the backfield, and the 5th overall pick bringing down Flacco.
Play action pass with a bunch of short routes, and by short routes, if it's man-to-man coverage, there's not a lot of separation. There wasn't the separation. Joe Flacco spun in the pocket. Probably should have just gone down as soon as he realized he didn't have anything there, because Von Miller was closing in, and then he got creamed after that.
1.5 sacks now on the season for the rookie Chubb, and now it's 3rd and 13 for the Ravens. Flacco deep down the field looking for Brown, and he was out of bounds. John Brown showing off that fantastic speed. The former Raven Darian Stewart had the coverage, and a 3-and-out for the Baltimore offense.
That is a replay of a pass that we saw on Friday at practice. Joe Flacco trying to hit John Brown on a deep ball and just let him a little bit to the outside, trying to keep it away from Stewart, the safety who was closing in on the play.
Now for the Broncos, their return man, Adam Pac-Man Jones, is out today with an injury, so they had 2 men back deep. And the punt is blocked! Cook's punt blocked! Loose at the 3, scooped up by the Ravens, but it looked like Joseph Jones blocked it, and Denver will have the ball in great field position.
Once again, a little bit handling the ball, making sure that you have it, a little bit of a high snap, and a great job coming across, laying out, making the block, and making sure you go for the correct block point. You don't go at the punter, you try and go across his face.
It was Joseph Jones, the second-year linebacker out of Northwestern, that blocked the punt. 5th time in Sam Cook's career he's had a punt blocked, and now Denver 1st and goal at the 6-yard line.
Andrew, normally on the road you come into a hostile building and you're hoping to just survive the first quarter. Broncos are going to be able to thrive if they can get in the end zone here.
Royce Freeman starts at running back, takes the handoff on first down, has room and takes it in. One play, one touchdown. And the Broncos with an impressive start. They lead at 6-0. Second NFL touchdown for the rookie Royce Freeman, third-round pick out of Oregon.
Great job by Royce Freeman starting off to the left, but you can see his blocker, butt right out in front of him, was really winding this play back. So it's a play that starts left, but is intentionally going to come back to the right with that lead blocker.
Brandon McManus for the extra point. It's good. Baltimore fell behind 21-0 last week. They're down 7-0 here. The block by Jones. The touchdown for Freeman. The Broncos have won a franchise record 32 straight games when they win the turnover battle. That's the longest active streak in the NFL. And early in this one, already +1 after the block punt, and it resulted in the touchdown for Royce Freeman. So Tim White back deep once again to receive the kickoff. Last time he got to the 15-yard line. White across the 30, picks up some blockers, and good job by Tim White to give Baltimore some good field position. And now a late flag comes in along the sideline. Today's referee is Ron Torbert. A 38-yard return for Tim White.
And that thumb looked like it pointed in the direction of the Denver Broncos.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 41 of the kicking team. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play. Baltimore's ball, first down.
That's on the rookie Isaac Yiadom, who's making his NFL debut today.
Not much of a shove, and you can see he's wondering how he got this called on him.
Vance Joseph not happy about that call, and meanwhile, it takes the Ravens into Denver territory. 1st and 10 from the 48-yard line. Motion man is Willie Snead. And a handoff to Alex Collins, trying the left side and pushing for a couple of yards. James, let's go back to the blocked punt. What did you see?
Well, you see it by alignment. Right here, early on over here, you're going to see Bowser against Joseph. And you have to win that one-on-one matchup. The guy you're going to block, a nice rip move inside by Joseph, and he comes right across the face of the punter. And like I said, takes the correct angle. Doesn't go at the punter, but goes across his face.
2nd down and 7. Flacco over the middle to a wide open Mark Andrews. Andrews leaping over a defender to the 15. The big man's got some ups, and he picks up 31 for the Ravens.
We could see it from up here because it's that run-pass option. The linebackers come up, you throw the ball right behind them. And the penultimate step, that's what long jumpers used to do. One short step, and then you go up high. So it looked like he was about to jump 27 feet at the Olympics coming up.
And now the Ravens in the red zone, where so far this season they are 9 for 9 with 9 touchdowns. It's a handoff to Collins. And Collins with a flag coming in. Now 2 flags from behind the play. Zach Kerr makes the tackle. And we'll hear from Ron Torbert again.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Defense, number 51. 5-yard penalty added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
That's on Todd Davis.
Yeah, he's trying to come up and stuff the run, but watch his hand climb up into the face. And you know what? You can feel your hand going up, and you've got to try and remove that hand as quickly as possible, get it back down, because his aiming point was for the shoulder pads, but he just slid right up into the face mask.
In the red zone this season, Flacco 8 of 11, 4 touchdown passes. As we mentioned, they've scored a touchdown in all 9 of their red zone attempts.
Michael Crabtree, great in the red zone.
Flacco looking to throw, rolls out, fires, caught by Williams. And Williams down to the 1. Shaquille Barrett on the tackle.
This is a very sticky Denver Broncos coverage unit. You can see the coverage right there, really close. And Flacco did a nice job of kind of just meandering a little bit to his right and finding somebody to throw the ball to, because if he hadn't been able to do that on time, you just throw that ball out of the end zone and you get yourself the second down.
Patrick Ricard comes in at fullback. Alex Collins at running back. A lot of movement up front. And we have a flag and a false start against the Ravens.
False start. Offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
That's on Marshall Yonda. It's the 6th time this year the Ravens offense has been called for a false start.
And, you know, you can see the flinch, but it takes you obviously from goal line to go at the 1-yard line back to the 6-yard line. And it changes your thought process of what you're going to try and do. And it even changes who's in the game. Lamar Jackson, the kind of slash do everything player, is in the slot.
That's Jackson going in motion. Flacco hands off Collins at the 5. Collins takes it in. That's a big answer for the Ravens. A 6-yard touchdown. And they are now 10 for 10 scoring touchdowns in the red zone this year.
When you put Lamar Jackson in the game, it's kind of like a little bit of a magic act because there's so much attention. You can see 2 players flowing toward the direction that he went to after he came in his motion behind Joe Flacco. You just can't take your eyes off of him because you know what he was able to do at the collegiate level. You worry about him doing that to your team at this level.
Justin Tucker for the extra point. Alex Collins trained at the Drake School of Irish Dance before the 2016 draft. It's part of his touchdown celebration. Cue up the Irish music. Collins ties it at 7.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. Verizon, the best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. And by Ford, going further so you can.
Early first quarter, we've already had 2 touchdowns. Ravens tying it up on the run by Alex Collins as Tucker kicks it away to Philip Lindsay, who lets it go. We mentioned Alex Collins and his background with Irish dancing. Back in March, he traveled to Ireland as a part of the NFL UK tour, picked up some new moves and putting them to use here early. Looks like James Lofton on one of his cruise vacations.
Yeah, you know, you're watching that and you're going, because it doesn't look like it's difficult, but the timing, the cross step, then the turn, I think only a running back could really do that.
A late flag has come in on the kickoff.
The Ravens might have not been aligned properly or even might have moved off sides. And the way that Jason Tucker kicks the ball, why would you don't even have to run. You could just stand there at the 40 and sail into the end zone.
5-yard penalty. It was a legal formation on Baltimore, so it takes the ball to the 30-yard line. First down and 10. And Freeman going nowhere. Thrown down by Kenny Young. We're going to go back to New York. NFL Today Update with JB and Phil Simms.
Where's the rust? Yeah, Carson Wentz says, I don't know about Phil stinking rust. 13-yard touchdown pass to Dallas Goedert. 5 of 7 for 55 yards on his first drive of the season. Philadelphia up 7-0. Back to Andrew. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
James Lofton and James Slater.
All right.
Phil Simms all over it back in the studio. Second down and 12 after the 2-yard loss by Freeman. Keenum in the shotgun. Hands it off to Lindsay. And Lindsay maybe gets a yard. It's going to be 3rd and long for the Broncos.
The Broncos have been good on third down this year, converting over 40%. And really, they've been good on short situations because 3rd and 5+, 7+, 1 out of 11. So these situations are tough. You turn up the pass rush, you probably get man-to-man coverage. You're trying to read the safeties, do all of that. So a lot of moving parts for Case Keenum to worry about right here.
Let's see what Bill Musgrave, the offensive coordinator, dials up on 3rd and 11. Keenum gets rid of it quickly. It is caught for a first down by Courtland Sutton. Man, that pressure was getting back there. Keenum delivered it just in the nick of time, and Sutton picks up 16.
That is a big boy catch. You have to be big, tough, physical to run in there. Courtland Sutton does all of those.
And no huddle now for the Broncos. Keenum back out of the shotgun, trying to set up the screen. Pressure was coming again. It was Darius Smith who hit Keenum, and it's 2nd down.
Well, trying to work a screen where he's looking to the right, trying to get the defense to flow in the direction over here, and then come back with the screen to the left. And by the time he does that, got a defender right in his lap.
Wink Martindale, the defensive coordinator for the Ravens, spent 2 years with Denver. He was the linebacker coach in 2009 and the defensive coordinator under Josh McDaniels in 2010. 2nd down and 10. Lindsey trying the left side, and Lindsey to the 49-yard line. It'll be 3rd and manageable for the Broncos with 8:50 to go in the opening quarter. And Lindsey lost his shoe.
Andrew, I coached with Wink Martindale at the Raiders. And for the bulk of the year, I thought his name actually was Wink.
That's what everybody called
I thought he had been named after the talk show guy, game show.
So Lindsey's going to have to sit this play out, losing his shoe. And it's a 3rd and 6. Keenum, touch pass, nicely done, and the first down for Devontae Booker. Anthony Levine on the tackle, but that was a well-designed play by Bill Musgrave, who took over as offensive coordinator last November.
And if you think about Lindsey as being their 3rd down back, to come in and make this play for Booker, who probably hadn't had a lot of reps of it, nice catch and turn and twist.
Booker again, this time on the ground to the 40-yard line. Denver is number 2 in the NFL in rushing offense, and they're only behind Houston by a half a yard. In their first 2 games, the Broncos have averaged 157 on the ground.
You like the hurry up on the road because you kind of take the crowd out of it a little bit.
Keenum has some time, now steps up, looking to run it himself, and taken down with a flag down in the secondary. It was Kenny Young who made the tackle.
That was thrown in the area of Tony Jefferson, a guy who is great at safety, playing up in the box against the run. When you get them in pass coverage, sometimes they like to grab a little bit back there. They get a little nervous.
Holding. Defense, number 23. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
It is on Tony Jefferson, the team's leading tackler in the first 2 games.
He's in good position, but you see the little grab around the waist there, and then probably when he stumbles, that takes the official's eyes to it and say, you know, this guy was grabbing because he wasn't in position.
One thing to look for with Jefferson today, John Harbaugh told us he wants Jefferson to play a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage in this game. It'll allow for tighter coverage on tight ends, also could allow for some plays in the backfield. Since 2015, Jefferson has 25 tackles for a loss, the most of any NFL safety.
Yeah, and he's their run stopper. You look at the Broncos, they're averaging 157 yards per game on the ground, so you want him up around the line of scrimmage. There he is.
1st and 10. It's Emmanuel Sanders with a lot of room to run. Sanders at the 20 with a blocker in front. Sanders to the house for a touchdown. 35 yards. Emmanuel Sanders is having an incredible start to the season, and it continues here in week 3.
Emmanuel Sanders is the guy who's happy getting all the high fives on the sideline. Courtland Sutton, number 14, a rookie, you see him blocking at the end of the clip all the way down on the goal line. He ran off the field like he had scored 6 points.
first rushing touchdown in the career of Emmanuel Sanders. And the extra point by McManus is good. Broncos got it going early. They lead 14-7. Denver trying to go 3-0 for the third time in 4 years. They're off to a great start. An 8-play, 70-yard drive and the first rushing touchdown in the career of Emmanuel Sanders. McManus kicking away. Tim White, who had a 38-yard return last time, will take this one from the 5. And White across the 25 to the 26-yard line. This past Tuesday, Philip Lindsay visited West High School in Denver as part of the Broncos High School Game of the Week series. The home school from each selected game gets a visit from a Broncos player, a $1,000 equipment grant from the team, and each head coach will be invited to a Broncos minicamp practice this coming spring. And for more on Lindsay, who's been an incredible story, let's go down to Jane Slater.
Yeah, he was sidelined his senior season at Denver South High with a reconstructive knee surgery. And you know what? He was at his lowest point. He said it was Broncos and former Ravens running back Willis McGahee who called him with words of encouragement. Knee issues had sidelined McGahee in college, but he battled back to play 10 years in the league. He said, you know, McGahee didn't have to go and make that call, but he did. And as a result, that's why he feels so passionately about giving back to guys in his community. Andrew?
Yeah, we had a chance to chat with Lindsay earlier this week, and the word respect came up so much. He calls John Elway Mr. Elway, asked Terrell Davis for his number. I mean, there's so much there for Lindsay. As Willie Snead has a Baltimore first down, a pickup of 15. Darian Stewart on the tackle.
You know, I like what the Raven receivers had made a decision about. And like I said, it's a little wet today. Some of the gloves can be a little slick, but when it's not super wet, the ball is still tacky, and your hands are the best element to catch it with. And all three of the starters are out there with no gloves. Look at John Brown go put on gloves right before I said that.
Collins up the middle and spins his way to midfield. And that's the way that you liked it as well, James, right?
You know, I really did. Because, you know, the gloves are mostly leather. The ball is leather. When those two get together, they just get slippery. Now, a lot of the companies make a glove specifically for wet weather. And that glove works until you drop a pass. And then you start to look at the gloves and go, these things don't work.
John Brown made you look like a liar, by the way.
I know.
He put the gloves on.
He caught his first pass without him.
2nd and 5. Flacco to Crabtree. And that's another Baltimore first down.
Crabtree is so subtle as a guy who's running down the field. Looks like he's just running to a spot. He understands coverages. He understands locations. He might run a route at 14 yards one time, 11 the next, because he can feel where the coverage is. And Flacco said it took a little bit of getting used to, but I trust him. And so that's good when the quarterback says he trusts the receiver to make the adjustments.
Gain of 7 for Crabtree, who's not had big numbers in his career against the Broncos. Flacco, and ball comes out. It was Crabtree who had it, lost it, fumble, and recovered by Javaris Allen.
We saw the blue little...
And now they're saying incomplete.
And then we see the incomplete. But once again, when the ball's a little slick, it's on the defensive back, Chris Harris, to really try and yank this thing out here. Because look at, he has it in his hands and then yanks it out. He gets his hand on the point of the ball and yanks it away from Crabtree.
Great job there defensively by Chris Harris. And it's an incompletion. Brings up 2nd and 10 with 4.5 to go in the opening quarter. Flacco has time. Now pressure from behind, gets rid of it, incomplete. Took a hit from Bradley Chubb in the backfield. And now it's 3rd and 10.
Last week against the Oakland Raiders, David Carr, what was he, 28 out of 31, just completed everything that Derek Carr completed, everything that he threw, 90% completion. And we asked Flacco, you guys going to do that same short passing game? Well, that's not really the Ravens' forte. They like to run the ball, set it up with deeper play-action passes. That was a deep play-action pass. Didn't come open. He had to get rid of the ball while standing in the pocket.
Marty Morningweg, the offensive coordinator for the Ravens. 3rd down and 10. Flacco sideline, and Crabtree juggles it. He's got it. Bradley Roby on the coverage. That is Crabtree's first third down reception of the season. Justin Simmons over there with the pressure on Flacco.
Everybody at home and a lot of the people in the stands are wondering, why didn't he go past the third down marker? He's past it, but he's up in the air and he gets knocked back beyond it, and he's still kind of putting that ball away. So nice job by Roby to force him backwards while he's still up in the air.
So on 4th and 1, John Harbaugh is going to send out Tucker for a 52-yard field goal attempt. He has made 6 straight from beyond 50 yards, the longest active streak in the NFL. Ball is on the way, and Tucker does it again. This guy's unbelievable. In the rain, 52 yards, doesn't matter. As the Ravens pull within 4, good job by Cook to get that ball down as well.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by NFL Sunday Ticket, only on DirecTV. And by Pizza Hut, official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
There's a look inside Jimmy's Famous Seafood, a great spot here in Baltimore. In fact, they tweeted out a picture last night that Von Miller went there last night. We were there Friday. James still trying to finish his crab cake. Lindsey on the return. Hit at the 20 and taken down there. First time Denver's had a kick return this season. Saturday, the best game from the best conference features Tennessee taking on second-ranked Georgia. The Vols and first-year head coach Jeremy Pruitt look to avenge last year's loss against the Bulldogs. College football today kicks off the day at 3 Eastern right here on CBS. Case Keenum has started 2 for 3 for 23 yards. Does have some knee soreness. Did not practice Wednesday in Denver. Returned on Thursday. Told us last night still sore, but never a question if he'd be out here or not today. As Freeman reverses field across the 25. Stiff arms Humphrey, and Freeman has a Denver first down. Brandon Carr pushes him out, but not before Freeman gains 16. Now, Jane Slater told us at the beginning of the game that with C.J. Mosley out today, that green dot on the helmet of Eric Weddle means that Eric is getting the calls from defensive coordinator Don Martindale, and then Weddle is relaying the calls to his teammates. As John Harbaugh told us, not ideal for a safety to do that. Weddle has to go down to the line of scrimmage, make sure that everyone on the line knows, and retreat to his position. But he did it with the Chargers, and he did it in the second half last Thursday in Cincinnati. He told us he likes doing it. He gets to get all the alerts in his helmet. And he called the right one there. Zadarius Smith, one of the first to get there. Brent Urban also in on the tackle.
Yeah, this is just man on man. You beat your man at the line of scrimmage, and Urban, good run player, really good run player. Doesn't get a ton of sacks, but plays the run in that 3-4 defense as a stout run stopper.
Been raining all day here in Baltimore. Continues to fall with 2:20 to go in the opening quarter. Keenum to Demaryius Thomas, and Thomas to the 45, just short of a first down. NFL Today update with JB and Phil Simms.
The only numbers that count, Phil? Oh, the ones in the end zone. 7, lucky 7. Andrew Luck to Ryan Grant for a touchdown. Ties the game up 7-7 down in Philadelphia. Andrew, James, and James.
Andrew, you talked about Weddle making the initial call. Kenny Young, or their middle linebacker, is still responsible for the call to these front guys up here.
On 3rd and 2, Keenum looking to throw. Pressure coming, he's sacked! Zadarius Smith flying around the edge, and he brings down Keenum. And the Ray Lewis dance on Ray Lewis Day here in Baltimore. Very appropriate. His 2nd sack of the year.
So many moving parts to the front 7 for the Ravens. Sometimes it's hard to identify who's going to come. They overload the right side, but it still results in a sack because you outnumber them and you beat your guy one-on-one. A lot of moving parts when you're going up against the Ravens.
It was Jared Valdir, the right tackle, who Smith beat, and now Marquette King is out to punt the ball away to Tim White. White lets it bounce at the 25 and rolls to the 24-yard line with 43 seconds to go in the first quarter. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Progressive Insurance. Joe Flacco and the Ravens trail the Broncos 14-10. Punt blocked on their first possession, but since then they put 10 points on the board. Alex Collins, the only man to carry the football so far for the Ravens. 6 carries, 25 yards. And he's out there right now on first down and 10.
Red.
And it's Collins. And he picks up a couple. As we told you in our open, the focal point for John Harbaugh was to get the run game going. He told us on Friday at the Ravens facility, quote, "I'm concerned with our O-line. We have to block better." Pro Football Focus has the Ravens as the 5th worst offensive line in the NFL. And so far today, 27 yards rushing in the opening quarter. Could be the final play of the first quarter. Flacco rolling right, throws on the run, completes it to John Brown. That's a Baltimore first down, a gain of 15. Chris Harris pushed him out.
You may look at this play and think, oh, it's just a ho-hum deep out by John Brown, but that little mesh point right there, Crabtree really has to get over the top a little faster. Joe Flacco does a nice job of just flicking that ball with ease to John Brown.
End of the first quarter. What a start. Broncos 14, Ravens on Ray Lewis Day. They have 10. They trail by 4. With James Lofton, Jane Slater, our entire crew, I'm Andrew Catalan. Started the second quarter here in Baltimore, and the Broncos, trying to go to 3-0, have a 14-10 lead on the Ravens. Joe Flacco 6 of 9 for 81 yards in the first quarter, and they'll begin this quarter at their own 41. First down and 10.
Let's see what Von Miller can do right there.
Only 1 tackle for Miller in the first quarter.
That's an open side end for him if it's a pass.
It is a pass. Flacco, deep shot for John Brown, incomplete. Coverage on the play by Chris Harris.
Chris Harris came into the league as an undrafted player. Aqib Talib used to play opposite him, and he turned himself from an undrafted player into an all-pro. One of the guys that, you look at all these analytics, and he becomes the toughest corner to throw against. When you throw against him, you complete fewer passes for fewer yards, so you might want to learn just to stay away and go the opposite direction.
Collins running left and maybe a yard. How about these numbers for Alex Collins in the first 2 games? He had a total of 5 carries running to the left that gained 4 yards total. When he ran to the middle or right in the first 2 games, he averaged 4 yards per carry. So that left side of the offensive line for the Ravens, Stanley at left tackle, Alex Lewis at left guard. It's been tough sledding running left for Collins and the Ravens in these first 2 games.
And even on that last play, there was a hole for an instant, and then it closed down. So he thought he had something, and then there was nothing.
Buck Allen comes in on 3rd and 10. Flacco, quick pass. Crabtree hit right away. Well short of a first down. The safety, Justin Simmons, makes the tackle, and out comes the punter, Sam Cook.
I don't want to make an excuse for my position, Andrew, but when it's wet, yes, it's hard to catch the ball. It's even harder to run with it after the catch. And we saw that, remember when Crabtree got stripped of the ball by Chris Harris? Because you don't feel as comfortable tucking the ball away against your wet jersey. The ball's wet. You think it's always going to slip, so you're hesitant and you run after the catch.
Deshaun Hamilton returning this punt. We told you Adam Jones is out today. He's their normal punt return. A fair catch inside the 10. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
Welcome back. Broncos on top 14-10 over the Ravens early in the second quarter. Got a quick injury update for you. Broncos corner Tremaine Brock out of this one with a groin injury. Andrew?
That's a massive injury for the Broncos, Jane, because Adam Jones, their 3rd corner, not playing today. So Brock was going to be the 3rd corner. Now he's out for the game. They only have one other corner, and that's the rookie Isaac Yiadom, who's making his NFL debut. So they are now shorthanded at cornerback the rest of the game. And it's a handoff to Royce Freeman on first down, and Freeman hit near the line of scrimmage. Kenny Young, as we told you, starting for C.J. Mosley. The rookie out of UCLA, grew up a Ravens fan, and he grew up in Louisiana, so it's not like he grew up in this area, but the Ravens were his favorite team because of Ray Lewis. We spent some time with Ravens GM Ozzie Newsome at practice Friday. He said that Kenny Young's still learning, but he's so instinctive that he's able to overcome some of those rookie mistakes. They really like this guy. As Keenum's pass is incomplete. We're going to go back to New York. An NFL Today update with JB and Phil Simms.
Coaches hate turnovers. Andy Dalton had a pass intercepted. Cam Newton took advantage of it. 4-yard pass to Devin Funchess. Cam Newton for the day, 8 of 11. Carolina up 14-7. Back to Andrew, James, and James.
All right, guys, here in Baltimore, Denver backed up, facing 3rd down and 10. They're 2 for 3 on 3rd down so far. Here comes the pressure. Keenum gets rid of it, juggled, and caught by Jeff Hireman. Kenny Young right there to make the tackle, and Denver will punt.
Quick pressure off the slot. Tavon Young, he was in the face of Case Keenum, makes him get that ball out quickly, throwing to the hot receiver, and then you come and you make the tackle behind it.
Marquette King out for his second punt. Tim White awaiting it at his own 40. White comes up. It bounces short of midfield and now rolls into Baltimore territory, but the Ravens will have good field position when we come back. A 41-yard punt for Marquette King.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you. McDonald's. And by Modelo Especial, brewed with a fighting spirit since 1925.
That was a great day in Baltimore yesterday. Our crew was so proud to participate in the St. Jude Run Walk to end childhood cancer.
And the fact that you all ran more than you walked.
We did. There was a lot of running, more than I expected, but it's a tremendous cause, something all of us at CBS Sports are so proud to be associated with. We've been wearing our St. Jude pins throughout the month of September, continued to do so, and it was really a special day for all of us there to participate in that run walk with St. Jude. Our producer Steve McKee just finished the race about a half hour ago. The race started yesterday morning at 9:30.
Did he take a wrong turn?
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
I'm not really sure what happened there.
Because he was sweating so much when he got back.
Flacco under center on 2nd down and 9. With Collins, again, the only man to carry the football for the Ravens so far. He's got his 9th carry right here, but only a yard for Alex Collins. This run game still trying to get going, as the Ravens have only rushed for 29 yards today.
It was interesting. The Ravens went out during the offseason. They picked up 3 brand new wide receivers. Pass game is going really well. But head coaches, they're a stubborn breed. We still want to get the run going, even though we're passing it really well. We do both.
You saw the rookie Yadam in there. We told you that Brock is out. Let's see if Flacco tries to locate him. Flacco down the sideline, and it's caught by Crabtree. It was Bradley Roby on the coverage, but Crabtree reels it in, a gain of 19 and a 1st down.
Crabtree was a great high school basketball player, so good that when he went to Texas Tech, he thought he was going to do both sports, but the ability to catch balls in a tightly contested area, he's always been great at that. He has a great quick step, hop move at the line of scrimmage to get enough separation.
Flacco chased by Von Miller. Flacco throws, and it's caught on the sideline by Crabtree again. His 5th catch of the half.
The quarterback's in trouble. You feel him coming out of the pocket. You work back to him. Crabtree lays out, secures the ball. Once again, we talk about those gloves that are great. He doesn't need them. His hands are that good.
Ravens want to go fast here. And now a challenge flag is down. Vance Joseph has thrown the red flag.
He's getting a word from upstairs. I didn't see it. Maybe one of his coaches on his staff saw something a little differently than what we saw.
Challenging the ruling on the field on the previous play of a completed catch. We'll review the play.
Joseph 1 for 2 on challenges this year. Vance Joseph lost that challenge. The call on the field was confirmed. So Denver is charged a timeout. We spoke with our rules analyst, Gene Steratore. He agreed that the call should stand. And James, the question becomes, what is the value for Vance Joseph challenging an 8-yard completion against the risk of losing the timeout, which he lost?
You've got an assistant coach up in the booth whose sole job is to look for plays that you can potentially challenge. He just pulled the trigger a little too quickly on that one. You have to look at the totality of it. 1st and 10 to 2nd and 2. You lose a timeout. They only gained 8 yards. Wasn't worth it.
On 3rd and 1, it's Flacco to Buck Allen for a first down.
I don't know which I like more, the soft toss or the nice one-handed catch, because I don't think one exists without the other one. If Joe Flacco doesn't take something off this ball, you're not going to be able to reach out and grab it with one hand. So Buck Allen, tomorrow in film, he'll be talking about, hey, I got the best hands on the team. Look at this one.
Ravens are now 8 for 8 on 3rd and 1 this year with Lamar Jackson on the field. They throw it to Jackson, and Flacco just whips it out of bounds. Well, John Harbaugh said, look, Lamar Jackson doesn't run routes. He's not a receiver. He's a quarterback. That time, I think Flacco may have just been trying to get rid of it and threw it in the vicinity of Jackson.
And he threw him to the upfield shoulder, and on a hitch you want to throw to the backfield shoulder, because that would have led him right into Chris Harris, who was just about to mow him down if he had reached out for that ball. So, you know, now Lamar Jackson understands why some of his receivers from time to time has short-armed the football.
Flacco to Collins. Alex Collins at the 15, trying to cut it outside. He can. And good job after the catch by Collins. Brandon Marshall, who was questionable with a knee injury, makes the tackle.
Now that goes down as a pass reception. But for me, that's an extension of the run game. It's a middle screen to the running back. The offensive linemen have blocked a little bit in the run game. They may still have a defender in front of them, but they cleared the way for Collins to make some yardage on that play. So that's a plus for all those offensive linemen up front who don't get patted on the back often enough.
Collins slowly came off the field. Buck Allen replaces him on 3rd and 2. And Buck Allen has his number called again. First down and more. Allen dives for the pylon. No signal yet. And now they're spotting it at the 2.
The Ravens take advantage of Von Miller's eyes in the backfield, taking a look at the quarterback instead of eyeing who his coverage responsibility is. And in the crowd here, they're showing up on the scoreboard, Allen reaching out, touching the pylon with the ball.
John Harbaugh was looking right at the big video board inside the stadium. As soon as he saw it, he dropped the flag.
So when you challenge plays, you challenge, plays that you think are going to have a chance, and obviously scoring plays. If you can get in the end zone or down early, you take a chance on that
ruling
one.
on the field that the runner was out of bounds before crossing the plane of the goal line. We'll review the play.
Now, did his knee touch as he's diving forward before he touches the pylon? Watch that right knee, still in the air. It's in the air when he touches the pylon.
First challenge this season for John Harbaugh is 44% in his career.
Does he get a birthday challenge? Is that what this is officially goes down as?
Our rules analyst, Gene Steratore, is back in New York. And Gene, what do you think about this play?
On this play, guys, he's diving at this point, and he makes contact with that pylon after he leaves inbounds with the right foot. So nothing is hitting out of bounds before the ball hits the pylon. I would have this as a touchdown if I were ruling on this play.
And we agree with you up here in the booth, Gene. It looks like this will stand, and will be overturned rather. And if it is a touchdown, the Ravens will now be 11 for 11 scoring touchdowns in the red zone this year.
I'm curious, Gene, if you were on the field trying to make this call, would you lean toward more, I'm going to call a touchdown as opposed to wait and see what happens?
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field has changed. The runner broke the paint of the goal line with the pylon, with the ball in his hand before touching out of bounds. It's a touchdown. Baltimore will not be charged with a timeout.
A touchdown for Buck Allen, and the Ravens have the lead.
You know, Andrew, you love it when players dive and reach out with the ball until they lose the football. We saw Buck Allen with the one-handed catch showing his good hands there. Well, he showed good hands diving forward and reaching out for that pylon and securing the football.
A 9-play drive, covered just under 4 minutes of time, and now Tucker out for the extra point. High snap. Good job again by Sam Cook to get that down. And the extra point is good. 8:26 to go, first half. Buck Allen has put the Ravens in front. 8:26 to go, second quarter. Ravens have taken a 17-14 lead. Buck Allen with the touchdown after it was overturned in replay. Good challenge there for John Harbaugh. And Buck Allen now has 3 touchdowns this season, 1 through the air and 2 on the ground. Ravens have had so much success at home under John Harbaugh, especially in this month. 16-2 at home in the month of September under Harbaugh. And in their last 6 games, they've won 5 of 6 here at home with Phillip Lindsay back deep. And it's a touchback for Tucker. Well, the Broncos tried to change something up with their travel this week as they came out yesterday afternoon. A lot of times West Coast team or a West team going east, they come out 2 days before on a Friday. Last year, Vance Joseph did that 3 times. They flew out Friday to Buffalo, Philadelphia, and Miami. Lost all 3 games by an average of 21 points. So this year, after thinking about it in the offseason, Joseph said, you know what, we're not going to go Friday. We're going to go Saturday. And they got here about 4:30 local time yesterday afternoon. Slept 1 night in the hotel instead of 2 and try to get it going here early today as Sanders slips away from a tackle and picks up 2. What do you think about the move, James?
Well, the one thing he said, that it allows our players to sleep an extra night in their own bed at home. So that really makes sense to me. It's not so bad that you have to get up early to play because of your time zone that you're coming from. Because players, you know, they come to the facility during the week, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., so they're used to arising early. So I kind of like what Vance Joseph is doing with this.
Keenum passes batted down. It was Matthew Judon who got a hand on it for the Ravens. Another studio update with JB and Phil Simms.
Breeze on top. Yeah, how about this? Drew Brees, 17 yards to Michael Thomas. Breaks the record of completions held by Brett Favre. He now has 6,301 completions in his NFL career. New Orleans up 10-7 over Atlanta. Back to Andrew, James, and Jane.
All right, guys, 3rd and 7 here for the Broncos. Ravens have the second best 3rd down defense this year. Only Denver is better. Judon coming. Judon cannot get Keenum, who on the run completes it to Demaryius Thomas. And that spot looks to be about a half-yard shy of a first down. Yes, it is 4th down. Great tackle by Brandon Carr.
And Brandon Carr is covering Demaryius Thomas, who's going to cross the field. But the real race is right here, trying to get out of the pocket once the pass rush comes to you. Moving to his left, good ball, but Brandon Carr, that's a good matchup because it's big against big. Demaryius Thomas, Brandon Carr, good matchup for the Ravens, I think.
Excellent start to the season for the veteran Brandon Carr, who makes another play there on 3rd down. King's punt bounces at the 30. White fields it at the 24. And Baltimore will start this drive inside their own 30-yard line with 7 minutes to go in the first half. Coming up in the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Phil, Nate Boomer, and Coach Cower. All the latest NFL scores and highlights all coming up on the Verizon halftime report. So the Ravens have the lead 17-14, but as we told you, one of the focal points trying to get the ground game going, that has not happened. Only 29 yards rushing in the first half for Baltimore.
But we've seen the running backs catch some balls out of the backfield. So when you're stacking the box trying to stop the run, those running backs can sneak out in the pass.
Flacco looking deep for John Brown, has a step, and he's got the catch. He beat the rookie we told you about, Isaac Yiadom, making his NFL debut, a 44-yard pickup for Brown.
You know, that green dot that we talk about the play caller on defense and offense having, when you're a rookie and you step onto the field to play defense for the first time, you could have a big orange helmet on because they're coming after you, and you better be ready because John Brown can just get up and go, and he can go by a lot of people.
Flacco looking for Crabtree, and it's incomplete. It was Yiadom on the coverage.
And Crabtree's thinking, you know, I'm not going to outrun this guy. Give me the 50-50 ball in bounds so I can stop, go up, post him up. He's not going to win a lot of foot races, and he understands that as a route runner.
John Brown, 2 catches, 59 yards. Second down and 10. Collins, the left side, and again, as we told you, the left side has not been open for business for the Ravens running the football this year. Adam Gotsis on the tackle.
Well, it's man-to-man coverage outside, and once it's man-to-man coverage outside, you're going to have an extra run defender. So when you cut back, that run defender who's running free, he's mirroring the running back as he's trying to pick the hole equally as well as the running back shot through. You don't get a gain.
Buck Allen in at running back, 3rd down and 11. And a flag comes out, a false start against the Ravens, their second one today.
False start. Offense, number 89. 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
That's on the rookie tight end, Mark Andrews.
We could hear the voice inflection up here. And Mark Andrews, rookie playing with Flacco for the 3rd regular season game. He left on that first hut because it was so distinctive.
And they didn't have a lot of time together in training camp this year. Andrews had an injury, and also Hayden Hurst was taking the first team reps with Flacco, so they're still trying to get on the same page. But Flacco really likes Andrews. Completes this one to Brown, who he also really likes. It's short of a first down.
And
out comes Justin
completion
Tucker
there because it helps the field goal position.
Sure. John Brown, we had a great chat with Brown on Friday. He told us in the offseason he did distraction drills. And what that is he would put strobe glasses on. And someone would throw a football and he'd see the release, but then it would go black and there would be all these crazy lights and he'd have to make the catch. And after he got good with the football, then it would be with a tennis ball, a little bit smaller. Then it would be 2 balls and someone would yell out, catch the left one, catch the right one. All this with glasses on, making all these looking crazy with all these noises. It's a block. Harris scoops it up. Second block kick today by Denver. Harris on the return. Has some blockers. Harris will go. Touchdown Denver. Simmons blocked it. Harris scores. A 58-yard return. And a flag is down back at the 41-yard line.
You cannot block, obviously, below the waist on a special teams play. Either that or a block in the back because they're coming all the way back around the 40-yard line is where the flag was dropped. And that's where Justin Tucker was. He's trying to make a play. I don't know if he turned his back and got knocked in the back, but John Harbaugh does not look happy. He's not happy because of the block. He may be happy if they don't get the end zone here, though. There's Jerry Rossberg.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 77 of the return team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Denver's ball, 1st down.
That's on Billy Turner, the backup offensive tackle. First the block.
and he hops through clean. You cannot hop through and touch one of the blockers up front. So if he had touched the guard, brushed him, or touched the center and brushed him, that would have been it. Well, not much of a block. And I can't see 77 in my picture.
There's Turner, who came in last week to replace the injured Jared Valdir at tackle. So you wipe the touchdown off the board, but a second blocked kick for the Broncos, and they take over at the Baltimore 49-yard line. And it's Lindsey, who's been quiet so far, but he picks up 8 on that first down run. And now some extracurricular. Wow, it's Deshaun Hamilton and Tavon Young mixing it up. They had each other by the helmet, and they are separated.
In the old draft write-ups of Tavon Young, when you're talking about him, he's not big, but I remember one word that stuck out. It was pesky. And when you are pestering guys out there, and if you're undersized, you better be pesky.
Inside 4 minutes to go, first half. Lindsey up the middle has the first down. Inside the 35-yard line for Philip Lindsey. First undrafted rookie with over 100 scrimmage yards in each of his first 2 career games. He's 3rd in the NFL in rushing. Again, 2 weeks, but for a guy that went undrafted.
Right.
It's been a remarkable start for Philip Lindsey.
He had 3,700 yards rushing at the University of Colorado. So it wasn't, like we said, undrafted, but not unknown. And this was the right fit for him because his phone was ringing off the hook from teams that wanted to sign him, but he just felt this was the best place for him to go.
Keenum, nowhere to go. Now gets rid of it. It's caught by Emmanuel Sanders. And Sanders to the 24-yard line. Kenny Young on the tackle. You mentioned teams were calling Philip Lindsey late in the draft. He told us one of those teams was the Baltimore Ravens. John Harbaugh said, yeah, we did like him. And it was actually Lindsey who said, I was hoping maybe I'd get a call in the 6th, 7th round from Baltimore. But in the end, he decided to stay with the hometown Broncos. There's a 9-yard gain for Sanders, so it's 2nd and 1. Keenum lost the football. It was Terrell Suggs who knocked it free, and there's still a scramble for the loose ball. Now a penalty flag comes in. Terrell Suggs couldn't believe that Keenum still had the football as he hit him as hard as he could. And now again, some extracurricular, and they still haven't indicated who recovered the football.
I thought Suggs was on top of the ball momentarily.
You can see the officials huddled up trying to determine whose football it is.
Suggs 126.5 career sacks coming into the game, but to go along with that, 33 forced fumbles. So about 1 out of 5 or 4.5. So when he's approaching the quarterback, he's thinking, get that ball also out of his hands.
Another look, you'll see Suggs actually, oh wait, he still has it, and then he rips it
right
down.
Right there, punches it out. And Suggs has it. And then there's a little bit of a scramble. Got those yellow fluorescent gloves around that ball. And then they got the ball snatched away from him after he was on the ground. And there's no clear way on replay to figure out what's going on here, but you see a lot of late people diving in on the pile, and that's why there are flags thrown out.
But there was also no call on the field as to whose football it is. They still have not indicated who recovered the fumble.
I think Philip Lindsey might have gotten a penalty for coming in there and throwing his body in there. He's a guy who forgets he's 5'8", 180 pounds. See, if you really want to influence the officials, if you're Baltimore, you march your offense out there. You take the defense off the field. You put your offense out on the field.
I could see it taking a while to sort out the penalty situation, but the fact that we still don't know who has the football.
Where they haven't pointed in one direction or the other.
Correct. That's strange. Again, Ron Torbert is today's referee, and he's ready to talk.
The ruling on the field is that there was a fumble recovered by Denver after the play was over. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness by the offense. Number 30 for throwing a punch. Number 30 is disqualified from the game. The down counts. Denver's ball, third down.
Wow, so it's Denver football, but Philip Lindsay has been ejected for throwing a punch, and he does so much for this Broncos football team, not just at running back. He's on their kickoff coverage. He was returning kicks today. That is a massive loss. Philip Lindsay has been ejected with 2:19 to go. He's on the left of your screen, number 30 in white. And you can see he did have his arm as if to throw a punch.
He's kind of just flailing in there. Those were jabs. Those weren't punches. There's a difference between when you're jabbing and.
So you don't agree with the call?
It wasn't to the point where. I mean, who was he punching? I mean, he could have been even just punching at the football.
So it goes as a 12-yard sack and a 15-yard penalty. So a 27-yard difference in field position. And for the Broncos, they lose the third leading rusher in the NFL.
Yeah, you got to keep your calm when you're on the football field. That's rule number one.
We've hit the 2-minute warning. Wacky second quarter here in Baltimore.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
So after the sack and the penalty, it's 3rd and 28 for Denver. At the 2-minute warning, Keenum steps up, in trouble, throws, and it's incomplete. It was Zadarius Smith who hit Keenum on the release, and Denver will send out Marquette King.
Great coverage down the field, and you're probably trying to get back into field goal range. You see all the receivers kind of posting up around the 35-yard line, trying to catch the ball, fall forward where you can attempt a field goal. Marquette King hasn't hit a punt solidly in his first 3 so far.
Averaging 40 yards per punt on his first 3, trying to pin the Ravens deep. White from his own 12 hit right away and dropped. And it was Cortland Sutton who made the play on special teams. Don't forget, coming up, Verizon Halftime Report. Join JB, Phil, Nate Boomer, and Coach Cower. All the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up in the Verizon Halftime Report. And here in Baltimore at halftime, Ray Lewis will receive his Hall of Fame ring. And we will talk with Ray at the early stages of the third quarter. Jane Slater will interview Lewis, who had a parade here in Baltimore yesterday. You went to the parade.
I did go to a practice. I had to show off. Thought I might get a prize or something.
Screen pass to Buck Allen to the 17. Baltimore has all 3 timeouts remaining. Remember, Denver lost a challenge, so they only have 2 timeouts remaining.
Out of the half.
Denver just called timeout. So they're hoping to get the ball back here before halftime, but they only have 1 timeout left.
An aggressive move to call timeout, because if they get a first down or they get a chunk play here, you look like you're sitting there with egg on your face wondering, why did we call a timeout? We had them backed up, but they still have 3 timeouts, so there's a lot of damage that the Ravens could do, and they've got a great field goal kicker So you're talking about only having to get to the 35-yard line to get in their field goal range.
Now, already this year, the Ravens have scored 13 points in the final 2 minutes of the first half, which is the most in the NFL. And you said it, Justin Tucker has, well, basketball they call it inside the gym range.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can hit from all the way back where the ball is now, but he's got one of the best legs in the NFL. So we'll see if the Ravens can get into field goal range. It's 2nd down and 6. Flacco to Snead, nice catch and a first down out to the 35-yard line. Darian Stewart had the tackle, a gain of 16.
Stewart slow to get up. They're going to have to stop the play because he's staggering to his feet right here. They came over and looked at him.
He's
now they let the play
there.
on.
Yeah. Flacco. And it's dropped by Buck Allen. Incomplete. That stops the clock.
Yeah, that may be a good drop to stop the clock. 1 minute 14 seconds. Stewart is now coming off the field on his own power. And we're talking about a secondary where you lost a corner. Now you lose a safety. Some communication issues in this hurry-up 2-minute situation. They have to deal with that.
Stewart spent the 2014 season with the Ravens. He started 4 games, had an interception in the playoffs against the Steelers, replaced by Shamarko Thomas, who's making his Denver debut today. Flacco's pass is batted down at the line. Adam Gotsis got a hand on it. You know, we should say happy birthday to Adam as well. We said it's John Harbaugh's 56th birthday today. Gotsis celebrating his 26th birthday today, and he bats this pass down.
Trying to throw it short over the middle. If you can't get to the quarterback, you watch that arm cock and you raise your arms, and sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't.
So 3rd down and 10 for Baltimore. 3 for 7 this half on 3rd downs. Empty backfield.
I'd probably throw away from Chris Harris right there. That's John Brown's name.
Flag is down. Snead makes the catch at the 39, tackled immediately. There's now 2 flags on the field. And Von Miller jumped offside.
Offside. Defense, number 58. 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
So far, it's been a very quiet half for Von Miller, but as John Harbaugh said, you could have a plan for Miller, and in 1 or 2 plays, he'll be there and wreck the game. So far, so good from a Ravens perspective, defending and blocking Von Miller, who has just 1 tackle, but they know that threat is there the entire game. 3rd and 5 after the penalty. Flacco lost the football. It's loose, and the Ravens fall on it. So it'll be 4th down, and Vance Joseph will call his final timeout.
Well, Shaquille Barrett flashed by this ball and tried to scoop it up instead of falling on it. And, you know, when you're successful at scooping it up off the ground, that's great. But you fall on that ball and you got possession of it right there.
Shane Ray forced the fumble. Alex Lewis recovered for Baltimore. So Denver called its timeout, but some time just came off the clock. See if they put some more time back on the clock. They've already blocked 2 punts today. And a big day for the special teams of the Broncos.
And a field goal. So the guys in the special teams meetings this week, they were staying awake. They were paying attention. And this is going to grab their attention, and it's going to grab their opponent's attention for the next 3 or 4 weeks, because you throw on these clips and these plays of what they're able to do in the special teams area, and you're going to say, this is a unit that we have to prepare for and be at our best when we face them.
They are putting time back on the clock, because as soon as that ball was recovered, Vance Joseph called his final timeout. And now, James, you got to go back to that challenge that Joseph had on that 8-yard completion earlier in the half. Didn't really see the great risk reward there, and it cost him a timeout. So now Denver has no timeouts left, getting the football back with a minute to go.
But as a unit, as a team, you move forward from that. You know, it's like having a holding play on 1st down, and you had 1st and 10, now you're 1st and 20, and you don't sit around and go, oh, I wish we had 1st and 10. You don't have timeouts. you're going to get this punt caught probably within, 50, 55 seconds to play in the half, and you can move the ball.
Deshaun Hamilton is back deep to receive the punt. He's awaiting the football at his own 11-yard line. No block this time. High spiraling kick by Cook. Hamilton from his own 10. And he's hit hard at the 14-yard line. Patrick Owasso with the special teams tackle. A 57-yard punt and only a 5-yard return.
He's hitting a target that's not moving, and that's the great thing. Now there's helmet-to-helmet contact there, but you had a runner who was bracing, and you get that helmet-to-helmet contact. It happens so fast.
Did he lower his head to initiate contact?
I'm not sure if he lowered his head and kind of went into him, or if it's just incidental contact that you don't call.
That's the new rule this year, which has only been called twice in the NFL in the first 2 weeks of the season. Not called here. 51 seconds to go, no timeouts for the Broncos. And it's Devontae Booker who's spun down. Ravens have all 3 timeouts.
And they've used
they'll use their first. We're getting word from New York that our rules analyst Gene Steratore saw that play on special teams and did think that should have been lowering the head to initiate contact, as you see it again.
I think it's happening so quickly, especially on a special teams play where you don't have as many officials around the ball as you normally would, because there were some who were 40, 45 yards back, and the couple that were on there, because there are players like just going by, flashing by them, and then you get that hit. You see the helmets. Tough call to make in a fraction of a second. We have the ability to look at it in slow motion.
So after the Baltimore timeout, it's 2nd down and 10. Keenum is taken down. Suggs and Judon combined to bring down Case Keenum, and John Harbaugh has called his 2nd timeout.
You have sacks, and then you have coverage sacks. Good pass rush here, but you can see the quarterback moving up into the pocket. His rhythm was past the time when he was ready to throw the football, and the pass rush finally got him because a result of great coverage down the field.
Suggs and Judon each get a half a sack on that play. Only Julius Peppers among active players has more career sacks than Mr. Suggs.
You remember the note on Suggs when he came out of college? He didn't run a fast 40, so they were worried about if he was fast enough to play. Say he's probably passed that test.
3rd down and 10. Keenum, and it's dropped. Cortland Sutton was wide open. That would have been a 1st down for Denver. And the drop by Sutton. And out comes Marquette King.
And not only does he drop the ball, but he stops the clock. And watch his eyes move off the football. I always talk to young receivers. I say, well, what's the most important thing when you're catching the ball? And the guy goes, oh, having great hands. I said, okay, close your eyes for a second. You've got to look that ball in. You can't take your eyes off of it.
So the Ravens will still have that 1 timeout with 33 seconds to go in the first half. White waiting for the punt at his own 40. It hasn't been Marquette King's best half. As a 35-yard punt for King. And the Ravens are almost already in Justin Tucker field goal range.
Up here we'll say, well, they can work the middle of the field. Well, the inside linebacker should know that. But what the quarterback has to be able to do is influence those linebackers with his eyes. Guys who, aren't getting paid really to cover pass coverage all the time. So if he can work them with his eyes, he can have a chance.
Ravens, if they could get 10 yards, Tucker would be in great shape. And guess what? There's 8 yards right there to Crabtree. And John Harbaugh will call his final timeout with 22 seconds to go. Justin Simmons had the tackle.
If you're the armchair coach sitting at home, you go, well, why would he call timeout now? Because on your next completion, 22 seconds, you should be able to run up to the line of scrimmage and spike the football.
Tucker has already hit from 52, which is his 7th consecutive field goal made from 50 yards or longer.
This is career long 61.
Yes, 2013 against Detroit. The most accurate kicker in NFL history, 90% on his field goals. From here it would be a 59-yarder.
Rookie matchup down here at the bottom.
Flacco to Crabtree again. Now they got to get up to the line quickly. It's a first down. Ball is spotted at the 34-yard line. 10 seconds to go.
Taking his time. They're going for just one play here.
And now Flacco spikes it with 4 seconds, and out comes Mr. Tucker.
You call him Mr. Tucker because he's hit 7 50-yarders in a row?
When you are the most accurate kicker in NFL history, you get a Mr.
I saw a local commercial that he does on television this morning, and I mentioned it to him. I said, you did a great job acting. He told me I made his day. Well, this kick would probably make his day also.
This is from 52 yards away. Same exact distance of a field goal he made earlier in the half.
A couple of snaps have been high.
Morgan Cox, the long snapper. This one looks to be good, and the field goal is good as well. Unbelievable. 8 in a row from 50 yards or longer. And at the half, the Ravens go into the locker room with a 20-14 lead. That's the end of the first half with the Ravens in front by 6. Halftime coming up after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station.
Copyrighted by NFL Productions for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of NFL Productions is prohibited.
Back in Baltimore, look at the first half numbers. The Ravens have a 20-14 lead on the Broncos. Here in the booth with James Lofton, I'm Andrew Catalon. We'll hear from Jane Slater coming up. You saw in the stats, Ravens only have 28 yards rushing, yet they still have 20 points on the board.
Really think about the Ravens during the offseason. You'll go out and you acquire 3 new wide receivers, veteran wide receivers. You draft 2 new tight ends. You're telling people you want to throw the ball, but then you want to complain about not being able to run it real well. So, and some of those yards have come through the fact that they've tossed the ball to the running backs on play action passes.
Let's take a look at our first half highlight brought to you by DirecTV, and it was Joe Flacco's touchdown pass to Buck Allen.
An extension of the run game.
Flacco 19-28, 224 yards passing, and 1 touchdown in that first half. Case Keenum 7 for 12, 56 yards passing. Another quiet first half for the Denver quarterback, who in the first 2 weeks at least has saved his best football for the fourth quarter. Remember, Denver is without their rookie running back Philip Lindsay, who was ejected for throwing a punch in the first half. Broncos get the football to start this third quarter with Devontae Booker on the return. Jane Slater caught up with both head coaches.
Well, Broncos head coach Vance Joseph told me they just need to play with more poise. He says it wasn't bad football, but it wasn't good enough. He said they've got to be better in coverage, and when he talked about poise, he said that doesn't just apply to just the players, but the coaches themselves. As for John Harbaugh, the head coach for the Ravens, he said it was a tough start for them, but great job to rally back. He did want me to ask you guys about this one. He is as confused about that Justin Tucker blocked kick. He said that was the big question for him on the field, was they just don't know what the rule is. He didn't think leaping over the line was part of that rule.
We have the answer, Jane. Funny that Mr. Harbaugh mentioned that, as You see Freeman on the carry. We spoke with Gene Steratore at halftime, our rules analyst. James, what do you got?
You're supposed to be within a yard of the line of scrimmage if you're going to go over somebody. He was about a yard and a half, almost 2 yards back when he went over. Now you go over, you cannot touch one of the offensive linemen. He cleared that barrier, but he was too far off the line of scrimmage to be allowed to leap over the line of scrimmage. He can go vertically straight up, but he cannot leap over when he's more than a yard off the line of scrimmage. So John Harbaugh, who used to be a special teams coach, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, and Gene Steratore thought that was a missed call, and that is what hurt the Ravens in a big way. That is a field goal attempt that the Ravens should have had another chance at.
Yes. Now, one other thing, we've seen a couple of block passes on Case Keenum. We've seen a couple of block passes against Joe Flacco. The field is a little moist, so you don't get great traction when you're coming around the corner or flying up to the quarterback. Get your hands up. They've done that very well, the defensive linemen have so far in this ball game.
The rain has almost stopped. Just a very light mist right now in Baltimore. It's 2nd down and 10 for the Broncos. Keenum fires outside, incomplete, looking for Emmanuel Sanders, and it's 3rd and 10.
Talked about one of the keys for Denver was getting those big chunk plays on 1st or 2nd down and not having to rely to make your money on 3rd down, because I think that's where the Ravens coming into this game had only given up 25% conversions on 3rd down. And when they get you in 3rd and 10, it's really, really tough to pick that up.
Here comes Weddle on a blitz. It's picked up. Keenum still in trouble, though, trying to move out of the pocket, spins. Now he's hit hard. He loses the football. It was Weddle who hit him. The ball rolls all the way out of bounds. They're saying it was an incomplete pass. So that's now 5 straight incompletions for Case Keenum. And that was all because of Eric Weddle that time, and great coverage downfield.
12 years in the league. Weddle, who we talked to, came into the league about 210 pounds. Now weighs about 195 pounds. Just relentless to chase down Case Keenum and put a big lick on him. Just trying to get rid of this ball.
It's the 6th straight drive the Broncos have had to punt. Marquette King with a good one this time to Tim White at his own 11. And White tripped up at the 17-yard line. Another special teams play for Joseph Jones. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Tomorrow on CBS, one name says it all, Magnum PI. Don't miss the series premiere tomorrow at 9/8 Central, only CBS. Ravens will start this drive at their own 17-yard line. Joe Flacco under center, Alex Collins the running back. And they hand it to Collins. Up the middle with some room. Collins rushes for a Baltimore 1st down. A gain of 13 for Collins.
You know, this is where you see the offensive lineman doing that feed me. Let's do that again. We like that run. That was a big hole for us. So those offensive linemen, they love to be able to come off, knock the defense back a little bit, get them moving, because it helps when you finally have to throw the ball. Those defensive linemen aren't coming off with a full head of steam.
Back to Collins, following his blocks across the 35 and out to the 37-yard line. Josie Jewell, the rookie out of Iowa, makes the tackle for Denver.
So the armchair quarterbacks sitting at home watching the Ravens, well, they made some halftime adjustments. You don't really make halftime adjustments. These plays are plays that you had practiced this week coming into the game. You're running them the same way. You're just getting them blocked more efficiently.
Play fake. Flacco was looking deep for Brown. Good coverage. Flacco just has to throw it away. Pressure was coming from Wolf and Gotsis.
I think he's outside the tackle box. So that's a great job. You're going to get Crabtree. He's going to come up and then try and circle back this way. But it's good coverage by Roby, who's right on his tail. Crabtree kind of doesn't run out of that break and separate from Roby enough.
Here's Von Miller, who's been quiet today for the Broncos. Came into the game leading the NFL with 4 sacks. See what Marty Morningweg, the Ravens offensive coordinator, dials up on 3rd and 5. Flacco, nowhere to go. A flag is down. Flacco throws on the run over the head of Chris Moore. Flag is down at the line of scrimmage. And here's Ron Torbert.
Offside. Defense. Number 95. That 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Big penalty on Derek Wolfe, the 7th-year man out of Cincinnati. And now 6 penalties for 55 yards against the Broncos.
Couple things. You change some of your defensive players. You give some of the players who in the first couple plays a rest. Von Miller's off the field. On Marty Morningweg's play sheet, there are plays that you're going to run when Von Miller's standing on the sideline. This might be a chance to take a shot deep.
Instead they hand it to Collins. Chased from behind by Jewell, and not much doing that time on the ground for the Ravens. Todd Davis also in on the tackle. And now Ronnie Stanley.
It looks like whatever he's been wearing on that right arm, he's taken off.
He just
thrown
threw
out.
his brace off. And so we told you earlier, the elbow injury for Stanley. He was wearing a brace on his right arm, rather. He just took it and threw it to the sideline. So no more brace for Ronnie Stanley right now. 2nd down and 10. Flacco to Brown, and John Brown has a Baltimore first down. Brown, we had a great chat with him on Friday. He said he had a 3-year, $15 million offer from the Buffalo Bills in the offseason. But he said that Baltimore was a place that he thought would make him happy. So he settled for a 1-year, $5 million deal instead of the promise of extra years on the contract. And he feels rejuvenated here. As he told us, he thought his time in Arizona had come to an end. It was time for a fresh start, and he's so excited to be here. Flacco looking for Brown, but incomplete.
Yeah, you wanted a double move, and Reggie Roby wasn't biting on the first part of that. So good job by Flacco. In the pocket, throw the ball over John Brown's head, get the 2nd down. Don't try and make too much out of that play where you only had 2 receivers in the route, Brown and Crabtree.
You just showed your age. You called him Reggie Roby, the former punter.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's Bradley Roby.
Bradley Roby.
The 5th-year man out of Ohio State. And now 2nd down and 10.
Pick.
That's right. Collins up the middle. It'll be 3rd down for Baltimore. Von Miller in on that tackle. We told you about 4 sacks for Von Miller in the first 2 games. That is more than 10 teams. Yes, entire teams had in the first 2 games. Now 87.5 sacks for his career.
You know, you want to pick up the first down, but you pick up a yard short of the first down, and you're in Justin Tucker's range again.
3rd down and 6, 8th play of the drive. Flacco to Snead, another Baltimore first down. Tackle made by Chris Harris, but Snead gets just enough. And now we're going to hear from a very special guest. As we told you at halftime, Ray Lewis was honored receiving his Hall of Fame ring. And a massive reception for the fan favorite. And right now, Jane Slater's with Ray Lewis.
Speaking of that ring, Andrew, I thought I'd have Ray show us this ring. I was told it took 11 weeks to make that. How does it feel to finally have that on your hand?
It's probably one of the most amazing accomplishments individually that you can ever even think of, right? Because now, you know, as a kid, you always said, what does it mean to be the greatest? What does it mean to be called the best? And when you put on this ring, 300 million men have played this game. People have played this game. And to be amongst 318, my number is 315, right? And so it's one of those special things that you feel it, and then you say to yourself, guess what? This chapter is done. I've done it. There's nothing else left to do. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you too. Hold on, let's check out this play here. All right, and yesterday, quite an impressive parade in your honor. What did it mean to see all of those fans show up to celebrate you in this accomplishment?
So listen, I heard love at least 2,500 times yesterday, and it was to see their faces, to see, I haven't played in 5 years, right? And to see that love just so strong in the community, the way Baltimore just loves me and respects me. Look, Baltimore got me at a 19-year-old kid, right? And I'm 43 years old now, right? And so.
And let's talk about that catch real quick.
See, it's just good vibes right now. It's just good vibes in Baltimore. Joe rolling, offense rolling, keep rolling. Let's score another one. Let's win this game. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. I know it's raining out here. We don't want to get this gold jacket any wetter than we need to. Thank you so much. Andrew James, back up to you in the booth.
Great stuff. Thanks so much, Shane. We thank Ray Lewis for joining us as well. It was a 29-yard completion to Mark Andrews, and there's an injured Bronco down on the field. We'll step aside and come right back to Baltimore.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Corona Extra. Find your beach. State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. And by the new super powerful Samsung Galaxy Note 9.
Denver safety Will Parks went into the blue medical tent. We'll get you an update just as soon as we can. First and goal for the Ravens. It's a handoff to Allen, and he takes it to the 3. Baltimore back in the red zone, where they still have been perfect on the season. 11 for 11 scoring touchdowns in the red zone this year. During that last time out, Ronnie Stanley, we told you he ripped off his brace on his right arm. He just put it back on during that last time out. The Ravens left tackle. Allen remains the running back. Flacco in the shotgun on second and goal. Flacco keeps it, throws, it's caught, extra effort, and down at the 1 is Nick Boyle. Nick Boyle in his 4th year has never scored a touchdown, and he's not going to get much closer than that.
You got a wide receiver out here who's kind of running a little bit of interference in Crabtree. If he runs his defender out of that area, Boyle, who breaks the first tackle, scores a touchdown.
So it's 3rd and goal. Alex Collins back in the game. And now a timeout called for by the Broncos with 7:29 to go.
Denver calls its first charge timeout in the second half.
The
30
Broncos,
seconds in lane.
who have had so many injuries in that secondary, had 10 men on the field that last time. So you'd like to have 11 and could possibly get a stop.
See Boyle's knee.
Yeah. That knee was down early, and then he got the extra yardage there, which is going to provide Denver with a shot at moving this ball back, another yard or so. But last time they did that, they lost a timeout. I don't know whether they would risk having a timeout here, but it certainly looked like his knee down there. You can see the red challenge flag in the hand of Vance Joseph, and he's all the way down to the 10-yard line asking about his knee being there. But you've got to toss the flag out onto the field if you want to review.
The injury update for Will Parks, the Denver safety, is being evaluated for a concussion, and now Vance Joseph is going to challenge.
And see, he used the timeout because they only had 10 men on the field. Then we were able to show that again. His unit upstairs was able to take a look at it. Now they will review it.
We'll come back with the verdict right after this. Two timeouts.
Exactly.
Oh, and we're still with you here in Baltimore. And as we were just saying, we thought we were in break. But Vance Joseph, if he loses this challenge, he would be cost him a timeout for losing the challenge, and he already called one for 10 men on the field. So this could really
set them back
big time.
But and winning the challenge is only going to garner them about a yard. So this ball will go back to about the 2-yard line. Now, if you can keep them out of the end zone from the 2, it's a very successful
Denver
challenge.
attempted to challenge the spot. The spot is not challengeable in this situation unless it's in relation to the goal line or the line to gain. There is no challenge on the play. Denver will not be charged with a timeout.
So he said it's not challengeable, the goal line or the line to gain. So if you're trying to get a first down or scoring a touchdown, you can challenge the spot. So Vance Joseph, you know, he learned something. He talks about that football 101 that they have. We're getting a little football 101 up here right now also.
Every Friday, the Broncos have football 101 where they talk as a team about penalties, situational football. There's a multiple choice test after, according to Vance Joseph. So the ball stays where it was. It's 3rd and goal. Flacco to Allen. And he's in for a touchdown. Second touchdown of the game for Buck Allen. And once again, the Ravens score a touchdown in the red zone. They're now 12 for 12.
I love the look of the play. You take your fullback, your halfback, Alex Collins, you bring him up behind the right guard tackle, you send him in motion. Just all that subtle movement, and all you're running is a straight dive play. The first play that you taught the kids when they were 7 years old, just, hey, take it, run right up, straight up the field. That's all you did, but all that other stuff to distract the eyes of the defenders helps you out when you're just running a simple dive play.
A monster drive for Baltimore, 14 plays, 82 yards. It took up over 6 minutes on the clock, and Buck Allen takes it in. They all scoring plays need to be confirmed in replay, so that's the holdup here before the extra point try by Tucker. And it's just been confirmed, so now Tucker can attempt the point after. Never missed an extra point in his career.
Uh-oh.
Nah.
Uh-oh.
Don't start that. Don't start that.
Well, that one was close, though. No.
Ravens have scored 20 straight points. Buck Allen makes it 27-14. Buck Allen has scored twice today for the Baltimore Ravens. They've opened up a 27-14 lead on the Broncos. 7:26 to go, third quarter, as Tucker kicks it away to Devontae Booker, and it's a touchback. Well, Denver got off to a great start, scoring touchdowns on their first 2 drives of the game, but since then, 6 consecutive punts. What's gone wrong for Denver offensively, James?
A lot of times you talk about surviving the first quarter if you're on the road, but they have not had a lot of clean looks in the pass game, whether it's been protection or whether it's been great coverage down the field, because the matchups, Brandon Carr shadowing Demaryius Thomas and Marlon Humphrey trying to shadow Emmanuel Sanders, they've been able to win on those matchups one-on-one. You see, once again, they have the same matchups on the outside.
Royce Freeman takes the handoff on first down. Freeman across the 30, hit hard by Jefferson, and a 9-yard run for Royce Freeman. What kind of sense do you have as to how much Denver misses Philip Lindsay, who was ejected in the first half?
They miss him a little bit, but I still believe that at some point, Vance Joseph, Bill Musgrave knew that people would kind of catch up with Philip Lindsay, and they've been able to run the ball. But passing, 7 out of 15 for 56 yards. You want 56 yards on the very first drive of the game, not through 2.5 quarters.
Freeman again, and Freeman has just enough for a Denver first down.
Good run call there by Bill Musgrave, the offensive coordinator. Pick up the first down. Just because it's 2nd and 1 and you know that you're behind, there's that urgency about throwing the football. You've got to win the outside matchups. Thomas, Sanders, they were once one of the elite tandems in the NFL, and they have been for the last 5 or 6 years, but they have to come up big if Denver wants to get back in this ballgame.
And combined for 4 catches today. Keenum, there's Sanders. And the tackle made by Marlon Humphrey, whose father Bobby was a first-round pick by the Broncos back in 1989, 3 years with the Broncos. Went to the Pro Bowl in 1990. Third catch for Emmanuel Sanders, who also has the 35-yard touchdown run.
When we watched Marlon Humphrey at practice. I said, this kid is special. When I asked Ozzie Newsome about him, he said, well, you know, he's still coming around and didn't want to heap too much praise on him. But his ability to stop and start, I've watched him on tape in the run game. He's physical. And just another one of those Alabama athletes. When you're in the national champions every year, you're going to turn out some good pros.
Keenum has a lot of time, throws across his body, and it's caught for a first down by Freeman. You mentioned the Alabama connections. 5 of the 53 for Baltimore are from Alabama.
You know, that little jump pass thrown back across your body to gain 3 yards, because when you throw back across your body, the defenders are still pursuing you. So they can cut underneath those throws. That's a dangerous, dangerous pass by Case.
Keenum with a flag down, completes it to Thomas. Thomas making a move. Thomas inside the 15, but there is a flag back at the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense. Number 72. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
It's on the left tackle, Garrett Bowles. It negates a 39-yard gain.
You know, I love that we credit defensive linemen when they get sacks, when they force fumbles. But we need to really have another category when they cause holding calls. Because this huge chunk play that the Denver Broncos finally come up with on the pass from Keenum to Demaryius Thomas gets called back because of Terrell Suggs getting held. If he doesn't get held, he's going to sack the quarterback.
4.5 to go, third quarter, 1st and 20 after the penalty on Bowles. His second holding penalty this year. Keenum changing the play. Hands it off to Booker. And Booker is met there by Tim Williams and Brandon Carr. A reminder, Denver playing without Philip Lindsay back in the first half, ejected for throwing punches. Number 30 in white. And that was Lindsay heading back to the Denver locker room after he was ejected. So it's been Booker and Freeman carrying the load for Denver offensively without Lindsay. 2nd and 17. Keenum taking a shot for Thomas. Great adjustment by Thomas, and he's got it. First down catch for Demaryius Thomas. A 22-yard pickup for the veteran Denver receiver.
You know, there have been some critics about Demaryius Thomas that he drops balls once in a while, but when you watch him play, he can do everything that you want from that position.
Keenum swings one to Booker, gets away from one, and then knocked out of bounds by Jefferson.
Kind of a little bit of no huddle, a little bit of speed up the tempo. You slow the pass rush down a little bit. Still get the ball out of your hands quickly when you go to this no huddle offense.
8th play of the drive for Case Keenum and the Broncos. Booker with a flag down.
Yeah, there was a hold. Kenny Young.
Offense. Number 60. 10-yard penalty. Replay second down.
Kenny Young, the middle linebacker, did a great job in filling the run, and he's the one who gets grabbed. Kenny Young right there, getting pulled down by number 60.
You got to give a lot of credit to this Baltimore defense. Without C.J. Mosley, without Michael Pierce, 2 starters. Kenny Young
without Ray Lewis too.
Without Ray Lewis. And Kenny Young has 10 tackles.
Yeah. He's active.
He's been everywhere out there today. And Chris Wormley, you see Mosley there on the sideline. Chris Wormley's done a nice job up front, filling in for Michael Pierce as well.
You got no coverage right over Demaryius Thomas right there in the slot. Weddle's creeping over in that direction.
Another flag down, and Emmanuel Sanders drops it.
Trying to get a little too much run after the catch there.
Yeah, should have had it.
Offside. Defense, number 56. 5-yard penalty. Replay second down.
It's on Tim Williams, the second-year man out of Alabama.
Just a little bit of a lean out there on the outside.
John Harbaugh, Don Martindale both told us that Williams needs to play more. We've seen him out there a bunch today as they continue to monitor Terrell Suggs' snaps as he creeps closer to the age of 36. Keenum, and that pass is caught by Sanders. Diving attempt by Jefferson to break it up. Thought he got there, but instead Sanders has the catch.
That ball's dying a little bit as it's getting out there. These balls are wet. They're just a little bit heavier. That ball's sinking down. Sanders does a nice job in getting his hands under it so he can cradle it and make that catch. Now giving them a chance to pick up a third down on this 3rd and 2 right here.
Denver has not converted any of their last 6 third down attempts. 0 for their last 6 on 3rd down. They have it 3rd and 2.
And they start with an empty formation. Whether or not they bring the back into the backfield, we'll see.
They don't. Keenum out of the shotgun. Throws, and it's incomplete. Intended for Sanders. Marlon Humphrey on the coverage. And now a late flag comes in as more words are exchanged. There's been a number of post-whistle conversations today. Let's see who they get here.
If it's against Denver and it's a personal foul, this pushes them out of field goal range.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Offense, number 65. 15-yard penalty. The down counts. 4th down.
Wow, huge penalty on Ron Leary, the left guard for the Broncos. And now Vance Joseph with the ball spotted at the 42-yard line is going to have to send out his punter, Marquette King, instead of a field goal attempt with Brandon McManus. So a very costly penalty for Denver. Punt number 7 for Marquette King. 7th straight drive that's ended in a punt for Denver. And this one is down at the 4-yard line. So good job that time by Marquette King. 1:22 to go in the 3rd quarter. Baltimore in front.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Domino's. Order online at Domino's.com. And by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem.
Ray Lewis statue outside the gates here in Baltimore, and there's a good sign for Denver. Will Parks, we told you earlier, evaluated for a concussion. He has returned to the field at safety for the Broncos. Baltimore backed up to start this drive. Buck Allen trying to give him a little breathing room and picks up a couple of yards on the play. With 1:15 to go in the 3rd quarter, Baltimore has a 27-14 lead on the Broncos. Case Keenum's had another slow start. 12-21 for 104 yards. Broncos have punted on 7 consecutive possessions.
Broncos have had 2 personal fouls that have also killed drives.
Flacco to Brown has the catch right at the sticks. Those two continue to develop a nice rhythm, Flacco and Brown.
And if you notice the difference, remember when Case Keenum was throwing the ball to the side and it was dying and right at the feet of the wide receivers? This ball on a rope, Joe Flacco, obviously one of the stronger arms in the league, big, physical, strong guy, can withstand this type of weather. And that's always a question mark when you come back here and you play in this element and these elements that we're having today.
3rd and 1. Flacco pitches it to Collins. And Collins has the first down. And now this season, Baltimore is 9 for 9 on 3rd and 1. And that should be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Well, Denver's had 2 4th quarter comebacks to start the season. They're going to need a third if they're going to stay undefeated. They trail 27-14. Fourth quarter in Baltimore with James Lofton, Jane Slater, our entire crew. I'm Andrew Catalan. It's 1st and 10 for the Ravens. They lead it 27-14. Handing off to Collins. Collins to the 21. Tackle made by Todd Davis. Alex Collins today has already run for more yards than he did in the first 2 games combined. And now an injured Raven, that's Max Williams, who is grabbing his
might have got poked in the eye. It's funny. That will stop you almost faster than any other injury, because when you get poked in the eye, it feels like that eyeball is sliding down your cheek.
That doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't feel good either. And you see players stop, take their helmet off, and come over, and it just takes a while to get settled when that happens to you.
So Collins has 59 yards rushing today. In the first 2 games combined, he had 48 yards rushing. So some improvement in that regard, but still just 66 yards rushing for the Ravens today. 2nd down and 6 with Willie Snead in motion. Flacco's pass batted down. Derek Wolfe got a hand on that one. Wolfe has started every game of his career for the Broncos.
It's funny, Joe Flacco looked at Wolfe and said, "Don't you know I'm 6'6"? You're not supposed to be able to knock my balls down at the line of scrimmage."
Wolfe 6'5". Still working on Max Williams on the sideline. 4th-year tight end out of Minnesota. 3rd down and 6. Baltimore 7 for 12 on 3rd downs today.
A little bit of an overload look on this side, trying to confuse the blocking pattern.
Here comes the pressure. Flacco launches deep for Brown. It's a jump ball and it's incomplete. Coverage on the play by Bradley Roby. And the pressure from Darian Stewart, the former Raven, coming off the edge, forced Flacco to get rid of that one.
Boy, great job by Flacco. Just one little step up to avoid the pass rush, and then just a flick of the wrist. And that's still a 50-yard throw down the field.
Big defensive stand for the Broncos, as they'll get the ball back with Deshaun Hamilton, the deep man. Hamilton from the 33 has some room to run. Hamilton up to the 45-yard line, so good field position for the Broncos. You're watching the NFL on CBS, your home for Super Bowl 53. Ravens lead the Broncos 27-14. This is the 6th consecutive year that the Broncos have started 2-0. First team to do that since the Dolphins in the mid to late 90s. But if they're going to make it 3-0, they need to come from behind in the 4th quarter once again, as Royce Freeman has the carry. Now Case Keenum has done very well in the 4th quarter this year in the first 2 games. Take a look at the numbers. A 70% completion percentage, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. So they've done it in their first 2 games, coming from behind in the 4th quarter, trying to do it again for a 3rd straight game.
Do you think Case Keenum is thinking we got him right where we want him, down by 13?
Broncos fans are hoping that's
the
case.
4th quarter, right, just like I planned it.
2nd down and 7. Keenum to Jake Butt to midfield. That's the first catch today for the 2nd-year tight end. How about last week against Oakland? They were down 19-7 in the 3rd quarter, scored 13 unanswered points. Big play on that final drive by Tim Patrick right there, and then Brandon McManus. The game-winning 36-yard field goal with 6 seconds left was the only time the Broncos led the entire game, those final 6 seconds. 3rd down and 4 from midfield.
Demaryius Thomas right in the slot.
Keenum, good protection, fires, and it is caught for a 1st down by Emmanuel Sanders.
You know, you talk about a catching radius, and you think about a guy being able to reach up and stretch out. Well, Emmanuel Sanders has that catching radius that goes all the way down to about an inch off of the ground. He's able to get down and get those low passes.
Gain of 8 for Sanders as Booker gets a yard. How about this? Since Denver scored its second touchdown, the Baltimore defense has held Denver to just 3.4 yards per play. So great start for Denver with touchdowns on each of their first 2 drives, but since then, just 3.4 yards per play. Keenum with pressure coming, gets away from Williams and throws on the run and completes it. Booker has another first down. Heck of a job by Keenum to escape Tim Williams.
The coverage is just good enough where it takes Keenum off of his first read. He'd love to be able to get Demaryius Thomas down the middle, but the coverage along with the pressure makes him move, get out of the pocket. Nice job by Keenum.
They continue to use tempo here. Booker falls forward for a couple. Back to New York, NFL Today update with Phil Simms.
All right, guys, thank you. Albert Wilson, 52-yard pass on the reverse to Jakeem Grant. Puts Miami up 21-17. Adam Gase loves those trick plays. Hey, how about that update all by myself? Back to Andrew, James, and James.
I'm impressed, Phil. I'm impressed. You should ask for a raise.
Is JB out getting coffee? Is that what's going on?
Dolphins trying to get to 3-0. Second down and 8. And Freeman is hit behind the line, and there is Jefferson. We told you in the first half, an adjustment that John Harbaugh wanted to make. He wanted to see Jefferson play closer to the line of scrimmage today. Well, you saw it right there.
Well, Denver had come in. They had 157 yards on the ground per game. So you're going to stop the run, and you tell Jefferson, we're going to put you up near the line of scrimmage. And when he was at practice on Friday, he was bumping into the scout team guys a little more violently than what you'd like against your own guys. He's been doing the same thing here on Sunday.
1 yard loss. It's 3rd and 10. Keenum. And it's caught by Cortland Sutton inside the 10-yard line and dragged down by Brandon Carr. And it's 1st and goal for the Broncos.
A basketball player. Well, at least for 3 games at SMU under Coach Larry Brown. Guys who can pivot, position themselves for that one-on-one 50-50 ball. Nice job by Cortland Sutton.
21-yard gain. It's 1st and goal. Keenum back to the air. Has the tight end Hireman. And Hireman shoved out by Anthony Levine at the 5.
The Ravens like to do a lot of different things on defense. And right now, when the pace is coming at you quickly, communication is important. And guys are covering the guys one-on-one. But Keenum is just making throws to where the defense can't make the plays, and that's the mark of a good quarterback. Throw it to your guy, away from their guy. Sounds easy to do, but everybody doesn't do it real well.
10th play of the drive with 9.5 to go. Keenum, pump fakes, flag is down. Now there's 2 flags. Keenum just throws this one away. And this looks like it's going to be a hold against Denver.
Holding. Offense, number 72. 10-yard penalty. Replay 2nd down.
Another holding call on Garrett Bowles, and that's now 10 penalties for 100 yards against the Broncos.
Well, he was set up for the pass rusher to rush outside. When the guy jumped inside, he had to grab him because he's coming straight at his quarterback. And are there good holds and bad holds? That might have been a good hold if your quarterback is looking the opposite direction and it's a sack fumble.
First 2 games, the Broncos had a combined 95 yards in penalties. 100 today, still with 9:17 to go.
Emmanuel Sanders right there in the slot, covered by a linebacker.
Keenum, and it's picked off! It's Owasu on the return! Owasu down the sideline! Owasu with a flag down will go! Touchdown Baltimore, and now we wait to see what the penalty is. First career interception for Patrick Owasu. The flag is down near midfield.
During the interception return, the illegal block in the back by the intercepting team, number 98. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Baltimore keeps the ball, 1st down.
So wipe the touchdown off the board, but still an interception for Owasu. the first of his career, and there's an injured Bronco down behind the play. And that's the tight end Hireman. We're back to Baltimore in a moment.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Honda's family of SUVs, sized to fit your life. Verizon, the best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. And by Sonic, this is how you Sonic.
Case Keenum throws his second red zone interception of the season, and he now has 5 picks in the first 3 games. He had 7 interceptions all of last year with the Vikings as Collins is hit hard. Let's go back to the interception.
You know, after the interception, Case Keenum happens to be the last line of defense, and just a little shove in the back. It's right out there in front of the officials. You look at the penalty, you go, well, it's not a malicious block, but it is in the back.
And Collins is wrapped up by Josie Jewell. During the timeout, Ron Torbert corrected the number of the person penalized for the Ravens. You saw it on that last replay. It was number 99, Matthew Judon, not number 98, Brandon Williams. And that penalty wiped out the touchdown return by Owasso.
And the defenders who had to run on that last play, they're hoping that the offense can sustain this drive so that they can catch their breath on the sideline.
3rd down and 13.
Empty. Wide it out.
Inside 8 minutes to go. Miller moved. And now Hurst is pointing at him.
Well, Miller comes across, and the offense reacted to his
Neutral zone
movement.
infraction, defense, number 58, 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
Smart play by James Hurst, the right tackle.
Exactly. Once again, a little bit of voice inflection. And once he crosses the line of scrimmage, because if he doesn't cross the line of scrimmage and the offense moves, then it's on the offense.
Miller still without a sack today, had 4 in the first 2 games. So 3rd and 13 turns into 3rd down and 8. Go incomplete, looking for Crabtree. And John Harbaugh will send out his punter, Sam Cook. So good job, Denver, defensively to try to get the ball back for their offense.
And Von Miller normally affects plays by being the pass rusher. There he is. He's just in the vision of Joe Flacco because Crabtree was trying to run a quick slant. Couldn't run it because of Von Miller having the underneath coverage. So good job dropping in coverage and reading quarterback's eyes.
Cook gets this one off. Hamilton drifts over to the 18-yard line. And Hamilton out of bounds at the 30. 7:22 to go. Ravens still in front, 27-14. So Case Keenum now with 5 interceptions on the season, most in the NFL. Gets the ball back at his own 30-yard line. And on 1st down, it's the rookie Royce Freeman still turning those legs, and he's got a Denver 1st down, a gain of 12.
And that is a keep the pass rush honest run. You get guys firing off the ball. But what you have to look at now, you have to start looking at the clock if you're Vance Joseph. You've got 7 minutes to play. You hope that you can get 2 possessions, score touchdowns on both of them, and in between, stop the Baltimore Ravens once again.
Keenum looking for Thomas. Incomplete, and a flag comes in. Brandon Carr had the coverage.
That ball was not thrown in a spot where Demaryius Thomas could have really gotten it. He would have had to work through Brandon Carr. And Brandon Carr is so frustrated here because he thought he was good coverage.
Defense, number 24. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic 1st down.
A 17-yard penalty against Brandon Carr, who started his 163rd consecutive game, the longest active streak of any defensive player in the NFL. The only player with more consecutive starts active is Phillip Rivers of the Chargers. 1st and 10. Keenum on the run, fires to Thomas right at the chains. He's going to be a half-yard shy of a first down with 6.5 minutes to go.
So you want to hurry now, but you don't want to be in such a big rush that you don't get the play right or the formation or get lined up or get set.
And now a whistle and a timeout called by the Ravens, stopping the clock with 6:16 to go. Coming up on the State Farm postgame show, join JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cower. All the latest NFL scores and highlights all coming up on the State Farm postgame show.
At the outset of this game, remember Jane Slater talked about the communication. Eric Weddle shuttling the plays and getting those plays to the rest of the defense. When you're in that hurry-up mode, Eric Weddle is supposed to line up 12 to 15 yards deep in center field. He has to come up, get the play called during the no-huddle period, run back, sprint back to his position, and then also jostle around just enough with Tony Jefferson, the other safety, so that you don't give Case Keenum a set look and be able to figure out the defense too early.
Defense, though, at times against Cincinnati, certainly when C.J. Mosley went out, did not look like they were on the same page. Without Mosley and Michael Pierce today, haven't seen a lot of communication breakdowns for this Ravens defense. 2nd down and 1. Keenum rolling right. Now comes back to the left and just fires this one away. So good coverage downfield by the Baltimore secondary, and it's 3rd down and 1.
Great job by Weddle in deep center field, reading the post corner combination that was on his left to the right side of the offense, and also, not biting up on a run fake. That's important to do when you realize that they have to throw the ball over your head to get into the end zone.
3rd down and 1. They run it up the middle, and they have the first down. But the clock continues to tick as Andy Janovich picks up the first down.
That run gives Janovich one more carry than he has reception for his career. He came in with 10 and 10. Now he has 10 career rushes, 10 career receptions. So he's got to find a way to catch a pass to even that out again.
Again, Denver without Philip Lindsay, ejected for throwing a punch in the first half. Keenum with Williams coming. Flag is down. It's going to be a hold on Denver. And Keenum now just throws this one away.
When you scramble out of the pocket and your guys have a grip that's legal on a defender and then leave the pocket, you're going to get holding
number
calls.
60. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Second penalty on Connor McGovern. And now 12 penalties against the Broncos today.
See, he has them, and then when he leaves the pocket, that little bit where he's kind of tugging at him to try and, have that contact remain, that's where the holding starts. But he did a good job until his quarterback scrambled out of the pocket.
With 5:20 to go, Denver, no doubt, in 4-down territory here. They have to find the end zone. Field goal doesn't do them any good.
You've got to carve away at this 20 yards that you need to pick up piece by piece.
Keenum to Booker and spins his way to the 36-yard line, and now Denver really has to hurry.
That's a good job in zone coverage, keeping the running backs in front of you or filtering out of the backfield and then making the tackle on them.
No.
Keenum to the sideline, and that one is caught by the tight end Jake Butt, his second catch. And it's 3rd down, a gain of 5 for Butt, who played for John Harbaugh's brother Jim at Michigan.
And under 5 minutes, that getting out of bounds stops the clock. Butt doing a good job on the sideline, tapping both those feet down, inbounds, and then getting out of bounds. Which, like I said, once again has the clock stopped now.
They need 10 yards for a first down. 3rd down and 10 for Case Keenum and the Broncos. Keenum fires, caught for a first down. Give that one to Demaryius Thomas. Owasso makes the tackle And now Thomas hobbles off the field. Deshaun Hamilton, the rookie, will run out to replace Thomas. No huddle here for Denver with 4.5 to go. A gain of 15. Keenum over the middle, caught by Booker, slips and tackle at the 10 and gets all the way to the 6. Anthony Levine on the stop. Now there's an injured Raven. It's Matthew Judon, who's sitting at the 20-yard line. He was questionable on the injury report with a hamstring injury. Third-year man out of Grand Valley State. And he will slowly head off to the Baltimore sideline.
He takes an inside pass rush move up here at the top, comes around, and then he ends up kind of like it's in a pile at the end of the play. And a lot of this, you know, up here where we're nice and comfortable, I realize down there how fatigued players can get at the end of the game. You're going all out to make a play, and all of a sudden that adrenaline leaves your body, and you realize that stuff is hurting. You don't know where it's hurting. Is it the ankle? Is it the thigh? Is it the calf? You just know that something's hurting.
Emmanuel Sanders has 23 career touchdowns in the red zone, has not been targeted in the red zone this year. As Freeman took the handoff. And I don't think they got the first down. They did not. It's 3rd and 1. Demaryius Thomas still on the sideline. You saw him hobble off a moment ago.
Here's Weddle right on the outside of the line there.
They run it, and he didn't get it again. It's 4th down. Terrell Suggs on the tackle for the Ravens.
Just a stout play at the tail end of the line. You're running that Suggs and Weddle, the two veterans combined over there. You got 28 years of football experience, but those guys weren't giving up an inch.
You like 2 runs right here in the red zone in a row?
Well, now I don't like them now that they're done and called, but and they're at 12 guys in the huddle there.
Wow, flag is down. Another penalty against Denver.
Offense, 12 men in the huddle. It's a 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
13 penalties for 120 yards.
When you have that personnel grouping and that issue, the quarterback is the one who should step out of the pocket, out of the huddle rather, so that you can get those people in, because they're talking to him in his ear. We've got a different personnel group coming in. That quarterback should step out of the huddle so that he's not the 12th guy as the other guys are coming onto the field and going off.
So now it's 4th and 6 from the 11-yard line. Terrell Suggs having a monster game. 5 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, and a forced fumble.
Empty backfield, Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, 2 go-to guys up top.
Keenum with pressure coming, and it is incomplete. And it was Suggs who came on the blitz. And the Baltimore defense gets the job done once again. Denver fails in the red zone.
They looked at a matchup. We mentioned Tony Jefferson being up near the line of scrimmage, his prowess against the run. That combined with the Suggs pressure, Tony Jefferson in coverage and tight man-to-man coverage. He does a great job. You've got to give half of that credit to Suggs and another half to Tony Jefferson. And Keenum, yeah, he's upset. He thought he might get a call there, but sometimes you got to earn it down here, not just hope the officials give you the call.
So Suggs, who turns 36 next month, we read you his stat line before that 4th down, a monster performance on the day. And they honor Ray Lewis as Alex Collins turns the corner.
And nice job staying in bounds by Alex Collins, who could have been run out of bounds. Now he forces Denver to use a timeout.
Gain of 9. Now Denver uses its 2nd timeout. They have 1 remaining. We met with John Harbaugh on Friday, and He said, look, we got so many young guys, and Terrell Suggs, as we told you, about to be 36. We almost kind of put him on a pitch count these days, about 40 snaps a game. And here we are late in the fourth quarter, and Suggs looks fresh and puts the pressure on Keenum to force that incompletion.
And he said he wanted him fresh in that fourth quarter. And you got to remember, you mentioned pitch count, so we're mixing sports. Terrell Suggs is a home run hitter. He's not out there just trying to get on base. He's out there swinging at that quarterback, trying to make big plays, chasing plays down. He's been all over the field today.
2nd and 1. Buck Allen. And he is stopped at the line of scrimmage. So Vance Joseph uses his final timeout. Clock stops with 2:45 to go, and it's 3rd down. How about the day for Suggs, Mr. Lofton?
And I talked about the fact that when he came out of Arizona State, people thought he might have been a step too slow. I would say that there are about 128 quarterbacks who've been sacked who would say he's not a step too slow. You can see the pressure, the relentless nature that he plays. And when you get those holding calls against you, that means that you're able to dip, rip, get around that corner. And those are just as big as the sacks because they pile up for yardage in the same manner.
Now, coming into the game, Joe Flacco was 4 for 4 on 3rd and 1 this season, the most first downs of any player in the league on 3rd and 1. We asked him, what do you look for in those situations? And he laughed. He said, I don't look for anything. I put my head down and I just fall forward. Do they call Flacco here on 3rd and 1? No, they play fake it to Allen. Flacco's going to try to get to the outside. He is running. And another 3rd and 1 conversion as he flips the ball in the air.
And he dives, and he stays in bounds. So, Joe Flacco, sure you draft Lamar Jackson, who has great wheels. But Joe Flacco, he says, I got wheels of my own. They might not be 4-4 wheels, but they're good enough.
He's now 5 for 5 on 3rd and 1 this season. And as a team, Baltimore 10 for 10 on 3rd and 1.
With just the smarts at the tail end of that play to understand situational football, to stay in bounds. Fantastic job.
And it's going to be a happy 56th birthday for John Harbaugh. 2-minute warning here in Baltimore.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, enjoyed by Giant Blue fictional knights everywhere. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Coming up, State Farm postgame show. Join our guys back in New York for all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the State Farm postgame show. All the Ravens have to do is take 2 more knees, and this one is done. Joe Flacco converting again on 3rd and 1, and they just wish John Harbaugh a happy birthday up here on the scoreboard in Baltimore. His team will go to 2-1. So you look at the records. Since 1990, 2-1 teams make the playoffs 54% of the time. 1-2 teams just 24% of the time. And for Baltimore, they're not going to be home again until October 21st. They have 3 straight coming up on the road and 4 of their next 5. So this is a big win for the Ravens at home against a 2-0 Broncos team. And when you flip it to Denver, they are now 1-10 in their last 11 road games. And even though they came out last night instead of Friday, same result as last year as they fall to 2-1 on the year.
Andrew, when I look at the Ravens' upcoming schedule, especially for the next 2 weeks, they have games against Pittsburgh, at Pittsburgh, and then at Cleveland that gets their blood boiling. So it doesn't matter if they're playing them here, if they're playing on the road. They don't look at those games and say, oh, this is going to be a tough game to get up for. They're excited about it. I think these next 2 games, and then obviously Tennessee after that.
And that will do it from here in Baltimore on a very special day for Ravens fans as Ray Lewis received his Hall of Fame ring at halftime. And since 2006, Baltimore has now won 20 of 22 home games in the month of September. Joe Flacco finishes with 277 yards passing and a touchdown. And a tough day for Vance Joseph, specifically the offensive side of the football. Again, they were without Phillip Lindsay, who was ejected in the first half for throwing a punch, but Case Keenum, another red zone pick. Now 5 interceptions for Keenum in the first 3 games of the year.
That, and in addition to those 2 big personal fouls that they had that cost them drives, cost them the ability to score points. That's tough to do against a great team, a team that plays great at home.
13 penalties for 120 yards for Denver. Final score, Baltimore 27, Denver 14. Coming up next, the State Farm postgame show. For James Lofton and Jane Slater, our entire crew, this is Andrew Catalan saying so long from Baltimore. We'll send you back to New York for all the scores and highlights right after this.